Hello. This is Antya from Byte Shuffle. Thank you for always watching my videos. This time, I've put together a guide on strategies and sideboarding considerations for the Grixis Delver matchup when using the Painter variant. Here is the deck list we will be using this time. Even if I go down to 6 cards, there's a chance of getting a stronger hand, so I'll mulligan. I'll put Beseech the Mirror on the bottom. I'll lock them down with Vexing Bauble. If I can generate one more mana, I'll go all in. Surveil's effect leaves it on top of the library. Surveil's effect sends it to the graveyard. Surveil's effect sends it to the graveyard. I made a color mistake here. I should have played Vexing Bauble using black mana. Surveil's effect sends it to the graveyard. Since my opponent has 3 cards in hand, they likely have only one hard counter. I'll crack Vexing Bauble to prepare for drawing into an artifact. I'll search for a tutor. I stacked Gia's Will, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Infernal Tutor in that order, then drew. I'm going all in. From here. Before sideboarding, I'd like to review the list we used. First, the conclusion. I will explain it step by step. In the Grixis Delver matchup, these are the cards relevant to Ad Nauseam Tendrils. First, there are graveyard hate cards like Grafdigger's Cage, Surgical Extraction, and Nihil Spellbomb. To counter effects that can negate Consign to Memory's triggered ability, I'll include the Painter package. For sideboarding, as mentioned in the deck explanation video, I'll take out the core package. Next, regarding days. Your opponent will use Wasteland to deny your mana. By combining that with days, your opponent can use days as a pseudo-force of will. If days is used effectively against you, it becomes difficult to win. So, you can counter this by ensuring your mana base is stable. Therefore, I'll bring in Forest and Carpet of Flowers. In exchange, I'll take out the less mana-efficient Lotus Petal. Next, your opponent will have Red Elemental Blast, and they will also use Orcish Bowmasters, so I'll reduce the number of Ponder in the deck. Next, against permanents like Null Rod and Counterbalance, and Grafdigger's Cage and Nihil Spellbomb, I'll bring in Abrupt Decay. For answers to permanents, it's best to have around 3 slots, including the mainboard Boseiju, who endures. Next, against Force of Will, Force of Negation, Days, and Consign to Memory, I'll use Duress and Thoughtseize to deal with them. Against these pitch spells, and Thoughtseize, and Orcish Bowmasters, I'll use Veil of Summer to protect against them. Next, regarding Ad Nauseam, your opponent has Delver of Secrets and Dragon's Rage Channeler, and uses Lightning Bolt to quickly reduce your life total. Since Ad Nauseam often becomes ineffective in this matchup, I'll side it out. Since I'm likely to get mana screwed, I'll mulligan. I'll put Hedge Maze on the bottom. Since they're holding up Red Elemental Blast and I risk getting mana screwed, I'll start with a draw spell. I'll search for a land. Didn't find it, so I'll shuffle. Surveil's effect leaves it on top of the library. My opponent cast Ponder, didn't shuffle, and drew a card. Surveil's effect sends it to the graveyard. My opponent cast Ponder, chose not to shuffle, and drew a card. I'll lock them down with Vexing Bauble. Surveil's effect leaves it on top of the library. I'll use Hand Disruption to scout ahead. Surveil's effect leaves it on top of the library. Surveil's effect sends it to the graveyard. Counterbalances locking down 1 mana spells. Since my opponent has 3 cards in hand, they're likely holding at least one hard counter. If counterbalance doesn't hit a 1 mana spell, it should resolve, so I took a jab with Grindstone. Counterbalance is locking down 3 mana spells. Surveil's effect sends it to the graveyard. Since they didn't use Counterbalance's ability, I suspect it's locking down 0 or 1 mana spells. I'll try to force out their counters. Surveil's effect leaves it on top of the library. Since a 2 mana spell is likely to resolve, I'll search for Painter's Servant. I'm going all in. From here. Thank you for watching up to this point. I apologize for the frequent play mistakes. I hope to improve at MTG together with everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to the channel and giving it a thumbs up. See you in the next one. This has been Antya.